history of the Buddha. So actually, my name is Prat Sombon, or you can call me Luang Pi Sombon. So I'm now a teaching monk at the Monk Chat program. So weekly we have we call meditation class. I'm the one who giving the introduction to Buddhism and meditation. So I was assigned by my teacher, Ajahn Prakru Parvirwalanayut, was my teacher on the Monk Chat program. So I feel very excited, and it's just an honor to me to be here sharing with all of you today. So I'm going to have a quick sharing about the overall picture about the history of the Buddha. Actually, what Prajan would share in our group, line group, actually that is very useful. That is covered overall of our class today. But we're going to slowly from chapter to go to chapter by chapter, okay? And the instructor for our class, there are mainly three. So first, the first instructor is Prajan Prakru Pawit Walaniyut. He is a founder of Monk Chat program, and he's now a teaching a monk at the MCU Buddhist University at Chiang Mai campus. And me, Venerable Sombon Dana Viro. And another important teacher, the Ajahn Dr. Pisit Kosupo. He's teaching in the Faculty of Philosophy at the MCU Chiang Mai campus. So unfortunately, he is in charge today, but he just told me that he couldn't participate in our class. So today is the beginning. It's the first class. We're not going to dive in detail about our class. So the objective of the course, of this course, is to study the origin and significance of the life of the Buddha, and to foster faith and applying the Buddha moral teaching to lead a happy and content life in society. So evaluation and grading. So first, the evaluation will be conducted through tests, written assignment, observation, group discussion, and maybe we may have some interview or discussion in the class. And the assessment method will be also include written examination. Maybe you will be assigned to answer a short question from learning from the story, okay? And number two, attendance in each subject must not be less than 80% of the total class honor. In order to get a certificate, so your attendance must be at least 80%. That means you can be absent only 3 times for this class. So number 3, assessment of learning outcome in this subject will be include a grade and a grade point. The minimum passing grade for each subject is S. That means certified. So this is this table, classification, score, and grade. So if you get 90 to 100, you'll get an honor. So if you get 60 to 89, you'll get an S, certified. So if less than 59, so that's considered as uncertified. So this is the evaluation for our class. So grading actually is not really the point, is not the intention of this program. Actually, we are providing this Dhamma study in order to help people who are newcomer or who just step into the world of Buddhism to get to know what Buddhist people are studying and to learn the Dhamma, the teaching systematically. So that's why the structure that Ajahn Narongchai has explained to us, that's in order to study the Dharma systematically, it's easier to begin with studying the Naktam. So Naktam is a fundamental, like a source where novice and new monk are supposed to begin and to understand the basic concept how to practice in the monastery. So what we expect from this class is to acquire knowledge and understanding of Buddhist history. So it's important to get to know about the life of the Buddha. So there's one of the meditation practice that is recollecting about the virtue of the Buddha. Without knowing the life of the Buddha, we will never understand how effort and how devotion of the Lord Buddha have practiced and tried, and still he was able to achieve enlightenment. So that could be an inspirational story for those who devote to practice Buddhism intensively. Second, to enable to apply the Buddhist teaching from the Buddha history in everyday life. So exploring the life of the Buddha has allowed us to be able to understand the culture of Buddha routine, what the Buddha practiced in order to be a good role model, even though he already achieved enlightenment, but he's still carry on the culture. Like if we study deeply in detail about the life of the Buddha, he not just teaching people, but also being a good example to teach his follower or the monk. Number three, to enable to explain general background and history of Buddhism to others. So this is important, especially those who are Buddhist or even those who are not Buddhist, especially if you're Buddhist. It's very important to be able to explain maybe how Buddhism arose, and where did it begin. So this class and Dhamma study allow you to be able to explain, at least to tell other people who are not Buddhist, especially when you travel and people ask you who is the Buddha, where he's come from, and what did he teach to the people. So at least I think studying the history of the Buddha allows us to understand not only about his life, but also what he taught to the people, what he discovered, especially the teaching, and learn about the monastic life. I think this is the basic knowledge that Buddhist people and those who are interested in learning Buddhism should begin with. So that is the expectation and learning outcome for this class. So I'm going to I would like to invite everyone to spend maybe a short time explore the overall picture about the life of the Buddha from the beginning, and maybe the basic concept, what we are supposed to know as a Buddhist. And later on, we'll go from chapter to another chapter, chapter by chapter, slowly from one week to another week in detail. So this is considered as an introduction for our course. So I'm going to take a quick maybe presenting to you all what we are supposed to know in the basic concept of Buddhism. So in the story, it's often mentioned about the life of the Buddha at his early age. So what we usually heard about his early life is that he was born as an Indian prince. So in the video and the movie that Prajan Warwood post in the box chat. Actually, that is how is explained and represent about the life of the Prince Siddhartha and how the Bodhisattva or the Buddha to be lead to the enlightened one or the Buddha. Yeah. So what is usually mentioned was that the queen, so the Queen Maya. So we're going to take a look in detail more on this, okay? So it's usually mentioned that she dreamed about the white elephant, and that white elephant entered her womb. Then and the foretelling and the birth of the great soul, they predict that they would be either become a universal monarch or Buddha. So after that foretelling, so not long ago she got pregnant and she gave birth to the prince, and the prince was named as Siddhartha. So Siddhartha, actually there's a meaning. Siddhartha is mean he who achieved his aim. So when the prince was born at Lumpini, and this a seer and a spiritual leader at that time, that predict that he would become a great spiritual leader if he encountered the realities of life. So, which is the story that leading to the when he grew up and he discovered the suffering of the life of the people. And that's his early life. So his father, like King Suttodana, feared that his son and the Siddhartha, the prince, will renounce the world, and will make him thought about going to be the monk. And he tried many different ways to serve him, pleasure, like surrounded by luxuries, arts, and which train him to be the warriors and many things offer. So with the intention of his father. So, but when he grew up, it was made him thoughtful about life, and that life is not happy as he lived in the palace. So he encountered the foresight, and that made him thoughtful that his happy life in the palace is just temporarily, and so it's not a sense of real happiness. So he saw an old man, he saw the sick man and the dead, and the monk. That the only thing that he feel comfort. That's the sign very ignite him and question about the meaning. That what it's the meaning of a life. That when he know that one day he's getting old, get sick, and die one day. So that makes him thoughtful and really want to know and figure out how to overcome just the thing. And this lead him finally to the great renunciation. He leave everything behind and decided to leave his palace. So there's many sources mention that some mention that he escaped from the palace, but some actually he didn't escape, but he just everybody know in the palace. So this is the dimension on the story of the Buddha. So that's leading him to to give up his princely life and renounce himself as a hermit or ascetic. After becoming the homeless ascetic, he traveled from place to place, seeking for a teacher, and he met many different great teachers, and that we're going to talk in detail again for this part. And finally, he was able to achieve enlightenment after 6 years of learning and practicing and trying to find out the way. And finally, he discovered the path leading to enlightenment. And then he decided to propagate here what he discovered on his first sermon. It's called a Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, which is contain all the basic principle teaching of the Buddha, which is called theme called the Four Noble Truth and the Noble Eightfold Path. That is the main principle of the teaching of the Buddha. Then he traveled and continued teaching people and many different class of the people at that time. They came to him and decided to ordain as his follower, as Buddhist monk. So that's leading the Buddhism spreads to many different legends and many different clans at that time. So he started to be said to be famous and well known by the different class of the people. And to achieve enlightenment, he spent the rest of his life, 45 years of his propagation. So to teach the people, and he passed away at the age of 80. And remain his teaching that's preserved by his follower or the monk later on, that transmits to our generation today. So what I explained to you here is that overall is a short, the short history of the Buddha, to let you know that the what we are will study in detail from this roadmap. So another important thing about the studying, understanding about the history of the Buddha is allowing us to remind us about how compassionate he is, and to recollect about his virtue. So before he passed away, it was mentioned in the Parinibbana Sutra, Mahaparinibbana Sutra. So he want his follower to go for pilgrimage. There are 4 places of pilgrimage that he wants his follower to visit, to build a feeling of like relevance. So the first place is Lumbini, where he was born. And the second place is Buddha Gaya, where he attained enlightenment. The third is Sanat, where he preached his first sermon. And fourth is the site of his Mahaparivana, where he passed away. So that is what why studying the teaching of the history of the Buddha has allowed us to understand. So I personally have never been to India, so really want to visit and see the real place where this for pilgrimage. So what the Buddha mentioned in Mahaparinibbana Sutta, he mentioned there are 4 places, Ananta. That's a pious person who believes in it should visit and look upon with feeling of reverence. So what are the 4? Here the Tathagata was born. This Ananda is a place that a pious person should visit and look upon with feeling of reverence. Here the Tathagata become fully enlightened. So the Tathagata set roll the unexhaled will of the Dhamma, where he first gave his first sermon. And here the Tathagata passed away into the state of nirvana, in which no elements of clinging remain. This Ananda is a place that a pious person should visit and look upon with feeling of reverence. So learning the history of the Buddha, so allows us to, it's a very inspirational, so even like those who don't have a chance to visit just those places, I think when we learning from the teaching, we feel like we are close to the Buddha. That's why studying to be a Buddha Nusati or to be mindful on the Buddha, I think it's very important to get to know the life of his life and how he worked hard on trying to teaching people and with his wisdom and compassion. So in the first chapter, actually in our course outline, so they are totally 13 different chapters. So from the first chapter here, so we're going to discuss about the context and overall context in the Buddha land at that time, 2,600 years now. What's to understand the people and the context, because the context today and the old days is different. So that's why to get to know, understand what people believing and people at that time what they're doing, I think it's good to know to understand the structure of the people, what they believe and what did they do at that time. From week 1, we have totally 15 weeks, but we have only 13 chapter. Maybe some chapter is quite long. There's many information. That way we can break it down into maybe 2 weeks. But some chapter are quite short, so it's easy to go through. So for today, I don't want to take too much time on this because just an introduction. So I would rather go for maybe the overall outline what we're going to study, and I will maybe switch with another teacher, Ajahn Pisit Kosovo. Actually, he is more expert on about the context in India. So let us continue maybe what we're going to explore for our class today. So I use the book to tie the Naktam 3 book in Thai and try to translate into English. So I haven't got couldn't find any source English version in Dhamma study. So one of the website that I find is very useful, besides from the text that we have. So in the website called Buddhist Study or Buddhist BuddhaNet, BuddhaNet.net. There's an English version. There's a divided in different chapter, but the topic and the chapter could be different from our guideline. But the some are very useful to go with. So maybe I will take some sort from this website and bring to our class to have more discussion on this point. So you can go here. So BuddhaNet.net. There's a divide the story of the Buddha in different chapter. And you can take a look in detail and each chapter. There's a story told and there even an exercise, the question that can help you to understand clearly, to to check that do you understand what you read or not. So this is the source that what we are going to use for our class. Okay, so let us go to explore. So I would like to invite everyone to go and explore about the Buddha time. So the context, the continent at that time is not a country like now today. India, and at that time is not countries and that divide in different country. When we go back to around 6th century, before the Common Era, Northern India did not form as a single sovereign state. It's not like a come one onion like today. So the country was divided into many states, some large, some small. So some were monarchical, some non-monarchical. Number 3, the monarchical state were altogether 16 in number. They were known by the name of Angka. So this 16 state, so a well-known state, what often mentioned in the Buddha history, Anga, Makata. Okay. Like Kasi and Kosala, Vachi, Mala, Chedi, Wada, Guru, Panchala, Matsya, Saru, Sena, Asmaka, Awanti, Katara, Kantara, and Cambodia. So this is the main 16 state. With it, the Buddha travels, and each state have an important story, and that when he traveled teaching the people, and we're going to dive in and take a look in detail and each state that what happened, because according to the teaching, like in the sutra, is often mentioned that where were the Buddha, where was the Buddha, and with group of key people to understand the context and the teaching. I think it's good to know to know that in the context of geography at that time is different from now today. And the number 4, the non-monarchical state. So were those of the Sakya or Kapilavatthu, like the Mala or Pawa and Kusinara or Kusinaga. The what ritual of Vaisali, the Videhas of Mithila, the Kolia of Romakam, and the Puli of Alakapa, the Kalinga of Resaputa, the Moria of Pipawana, and the Banga with their capital on Samura Hill. So this is the non-monarchical. So actually there's many different names. So you don't have to remember all of this. So but to let you know that's how the we call them monarchical system look like at that time. And actually there's many different states that is not mentioned here. And the monarchical state were known as Janapada, and the non-monarchical as Sang or Gana. So what I mentioned here that is not is much not much is known about the nature of the polity of the Sakya or Kapilavatthu, whether it was Republican or only Ocasio. So what mentioned here is that the Sakya Kapilavatthu, so it's like kind of an independent state. So that's why the governance is not clear that what it look like. So, but however, it's definitely known that there were many ruling family in the Republic of Sakya, and that they rule in turn. So Sakya clan, where the Buddha was born, actually there's a different family, and each family there's a ruler, and they come as it's similar to republic. And the head of ruling family was known as Raja or Raja. Now, at the time of birth of Siddhartha, so when the prince was born, it was the turn of Sutthodana to be the Raja. So the Raja is like the head of the all family, and at that time when the Prince Siddhartha was born, and his father was Raja. And Sakya state was situated in northeast corner of India. So it's close to the Himalayan mountain. And in an independent state, but at later state, the king of Kosala had succeeded in establishing his paramountcy over it. So there's the Kosala is one of the biggest states that expanding their power, and the result of this paramountcy was that the Sakya state could not exercise certain sovereign power without the sanction of the king of Kosala. So that kingdom then in existence, Kosala was a powerful kingdom. So was the kingdom of Makata, Makot, Pasanidi, king of Kosala, and Bimbisara, king of Makata, were the contemporary of Siddhartha Gautama. So this is the map of the land of the Buddha. So showing that's how North India looked like at that time, in the Buddha time. So you see here is the main, the red, the color, that is the important place that the Buddha traveled and where he stayed. So here in the northern part of India, close to Himalayan mouth, here's the Lumpini, where the Buddha was born. And here down here the Kusinaga, where he passed away. So like Buddha Gaya, where he achieved enlightenment. So this is the map showing that at that time there's a different clan and states. That's different from today. So next, the ethnicity residing in the Indian subcontinent. So at that time within the Indian subcontinent, there's two main groups of the people called ethnic group reside. So the first group they call indigenous people, who was the local known as Milaka, who are the original inhabitants who stay there. And the second group of the people and the newcomer, so referred to as Aliyaka, those people who migrate to the legend and replace the indigenous people. So, and talk about the life of the people at that time. So today, still in India, so they have a kind of social we call social case, or wana. In Thai we call wana. So to classify the group of the people in different level. So there are 4 different group of the people that is classified according to the Hindu belief. So like the first class is called a Brahmin. Brahmin is a number of a highest case or and is an incarnation of knowledge. And the second class group of the people and the Kshatriyas are the second highest of the 4 wana, representing warriors and aristocracy, like a warrior, like to do a battle and protecting the clan, the country. Vaishyas, the third group of the people, like business people, like the third class of the caste system, like a trader. So these are considered as Vaishyas. The fourth group of the people of Sudra, or Sud in Thai. Sudra laborer, so like a work, the work to do hard work are the lowest of the 4 classes of the caste system. So all of these class, they're not allowed to get married across the wana, So like Brahmin cannot get married with the Sudra, or Brahmin cannot get married with the business, like or Vaishyas. They cannot cross to preserve the culture, like they're protecting like a pure blood or something. Like what mentioned here, intermarriage between different cases is prohibited, and any offspring from such onions are considered a separate class. So if like a different class got married with a different case, so the offspring, the baby will consider as untouchable. There's another term they call the people who like the baby that was born from the crossing the line. So if like Casillas or the warrior class got married with the labor, and the offspring of the baby will be the untouchable. So that is another form of like a discrimination on the social case. So this is the diagram showing about the Vedas or the class social caste system in India at that time. So Brahmin considered at the top is like a priest, and the second class Kshatriyas, a warrior or ruler, and the third class Vaishyas, like farmer, trader, and merchant, and these group of people considered as Vaishyas. And down, the very down here, Shudra, considered as a laborer. So this is a social case in India. So this class system, social case system, has come from what people believe at that time. So what's behind of this social case? So actually, the origin of the caste system is come from the belief in the Hindu scripture that's mentioned in Veda. So they believe that Brahmins or priests, or priest and teacher was born from the Hindu god. So and the Kshatriyas, the warrior and the ruler, was born from the hand of the god. And lower than that, Vaisyas, like farmer, trader, merchant, consider they believe that they was born from the lake of the god. And the very low group of the people like labor, suit. And they believe that this was born from the feet and feet of the god. So that is what people follow, and at that time, according to the Vedas and Hinduism at that time. So what people believe, so there's a main belief system at the Buddha time. So people in ancient India, like they are deeply interested in studying philosophy, and is the beginning of the enlightened era, where around the world there's many thinkers and philosophers arising at that time. So with the many different perspectives, on the ultimate truth, like birth, death, happiness, and suffering. So there's come to be many different denomination of the thinkers and teacher that's in with the teaching and trying to explore this concept, and resulting in different view and belief that individual follow. Some believe that in order to free from death, happiness, and suffering, one must sacrifice or deny the body, punish the body, like the Buddha did, like torture his body, trying to achieve enlightenment. So it's come to the main belief. So one group of people believe that there's a life after death. So life will continue after we die. Another group of people mentioned that, and it's when after death, it's just an extinction. So that is two different beliefs, and different people, they're just following then different ways of view according to their local belief at that time. Okay, so the idea that mainly come from the Buddhist Hindu scripture called Veda, the foundation of Hinduism, Hindu teaching. And in Veda, there's a four main different scripture that's influenced the ways of people life at that time. So the first scripture called Rig Veda, known as the Loyal Knowledge. It contained hymns and priests to various deity or different like gods and goddess. And second is Sama Veda, focus on chant and melody used during ritual. Right? So they come up with instruments. It's like to chant and to worshiping the gods and providing a service, run the service like to worshiping the gods, things like that. Yachu Veda. So this scripture provides an instruction for sacrificial ritual. And the number 4, Atharva Veda, addressing practical aspect of life, including like medicine, magic, incantation. So, and these are the fundamental belief and teaching Veda that leading to influence people ways of living at that time in the Buddha time. But still today, this kind of practice still exists in the society. The social care system, if you have a chance to visit India, so you'll see that the people still following. And maybe in the next class, I will show you the what people practice in Hinduism on the social case. Okay, so I will not take any longer time. So now I'm going to open for everyone to, if you have any question, please share with us here. So this is our first class. Anything that you want to learn more beside this? I know that many of you already, maybe you know about the history of the life of the Buddha, but we don't really have much time to dive into the detail, actually, to study the Buddhist, the life of the Buddha in different dimension. So this is another perspective on our class. If you have any more like interesting information, I'm happy for you to share with the class. So anyone have any question?
Yes, I have a question. I don't know if I get that right, that where the Buddha was born, that this place is not considered as a kingdom, because there were states that were considered as a kingdom and some non-kingdom states. And when I read some books about Buddhism, there's always written about King Suddhodana, but you mentioned him as Raja Suddhodana. So is there, this is the difference, Raja and King is not the same meaning, or did I get that wrong?
So many people, when they translate into English, another form, it's called as a king or Raja. So pretty much time we translate Raja into king. So Raja is like the one who govern. So in Sakaya clan, there's they divide in different family. So there will be one, the head of the leader of the family will be word to be a Raja, to be the leader of all families again. Those, and they commonly consider him as a king, the king of the group.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone have any more.
Pika, in that case, what do you call the king of the kingdom?
The king of the kingdom. So I'm not sure here what do they really call the king of your kingdom. So I'm not sure that this can be used as an emperor. No. So like one of the they have a different type of the kingdom, So there's a kingdom, the bigger kingdom like Kosala. Now, Kosala is like one of the powerful kingdom that influence and many other we call non-monarchical kingdom. So that's why I'm not sure that I have never seen or anyone use the term like emperor, like the Kosala kingdom. I'm not sure that they use the term let's say an emperor, but they often use the term Raja. I'm not sure they use the term the Raja of Raja, the king of king. So anyone have any more information you can share with us here?
Just,
okay, Richard.
Yeah, if I could just attempt to make a clarification on that, where you discussed earlier monarchical and non-monarchical states. The head, it sounds a bit obvious, but the head of a monarchical state is the monarch, to use the English term. So for clarification, we might like in English to separate the head of the monarchical states as a monarch and non-monarchical as a king. Yeah. And then maybe your Indic languages use that even more. But in English, maybe that's some clarification.
I see.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you very much, Richard. The Roland for sharing us. Anyone would like to share any more information about the context? Maybe there's a more detail on interesting point to know before leading to the life of the Buddha. So that context, the Buddha have to encounter many different point of view, especially in many different villages, especially with the Hindu. So I bring like to show you the social case and about the Hindu belief, to get to know what people are believing and what influence the way that people are a view on life and death. Okay, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing all this historical context. As far as I know, I am not an expert, but I know that there were 6 main philosophical schools in India at the time. So one of them is Vedanta, which is the base of Hinduism, but probably at the time, the Buddha had access to other kinds of philosophical schools. For example, Jainism. Jainism proclaimed the importance of non-violence, the famous ahimsa. So probably there were other perspectives at the time. I know that India is very, very rich in terms of philosophical and spiritual approaches. So yes, it's very interesting that he lived at the time when many things were happening in India.
Okay, thank you, Sandra Gomez, for sharing with us. So what you mentioned is six main different teacher. Actually, what often mentioned in the Buddha history. That's there is kind of arguing, having different views on about life and death, and about different views about the nature of man, and they discuss in a different philosophy, So it's and these kind of six different schools often like bring to this involved. And sometimes there's one of the disciple, many disciples that were sent to like confront, ask the Buddha question, and many are devoted to Buddhist monk. So that also we're going to be discussing in detail. Actually, that's a very, very good point. Thank you very much for sharing, Sanfra Gomez. Satu. Okay, so I think I will not take any longer. So I think it is good for our introduction, for our history of the life of the Buddha class. So next time, so maybe hopefully Ajahn Presit Kosipo will be available for us to join and share. Actually, he's one of the very knowledgeable in Buddhist history. He's been to India, and I think he can share more about more deeper detail what we have discussed today. So hopefully today you can and help you understand clearly about the life of the Buddha. And next time, so what we're going to discuss is going to be more on the maybe about the we're going to take a look more detail more on the clan. So we're doing through scope and lead into the in different clan, and about the Buddha family, that how like the structure in the monas, that's about could relate to his life. So we wish everyone all the best. See you and see you next time. And let us pay homage to the Triple Gem together. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang Namami